Sister wives Kody Brown leaving Robyn out of the equation with his kids proved she's a major part of the problem in their fractured relationship. Sister wives patriarch Kody Brown has been clear that his relationships with his older kids and his relationship with his remaining wife, Robyn Brown, are currently separate, making it clear that he's pushing her out of that part of his life to make space for what he wants. Kody, who's the father of 18 children, has been dealing with issues with the majority of his kids for years. Despite the fact that he spent part of Sister Wives Season 19's beginning swearing he was making amends with his kids when he wasn't, things seem to be changing for the patriarch. Despite Kody's divorces from Cristin Brown, Janelle Brown, and Mary Brown seemingly coloring his children's perspectives of their father, he's been doing his best to keep Robyn in the loop when it comes to his relationships with his kids. As his remaining wife, Kody's been confiding in Robyn about the difficulties he's faced in his relationships with the kids, but he's also been open about how much they struggle with her being part of the outreach process. Kody's behavior hasn't been great over the years, but both he and the kids have tried to make an effort at staying close. In a recent episode of Sister Wives Season 19, Kody shared with Robyn that he'd been visiting his daughter with Cristin Brown, Aspen Thompson, when a few of his other kids had come over as well. While he hadn't anticipated seeing more of his children, it was a welcome surprise, but the conversation that followed didn't appear to be the usual sort for the group. While Kody and his kids have had a strained relationship over the years, things have become increasingly difficult after his divorces from their mothers, leaving Kody primarily dealing with Robyn's kids than any other group. During the conversation, which Robyn kept trying to correct Kody was more of a confrontation despite not being present to witness it. Kody shared that he and the kids had talked a lot about their relationships and what they wanted out of them. Sharing that he'd heard out the kids about their concerns about his behavior, Kody and his children had come to somewhat of an impasse about their relationship, making some positive shifts. While Robyn appeared to be interested in what Kody was saying, it was clear Kody having positive relationships with his kids was a threat to her. While Kody visiting his kids without Robyn present was a positive for him, it's become clear over the years that when Robyn is around, Kody's only real concern is her. Despite knowing that he has 18 children who have different degrees of need for him, Kody's behavior is often geared toward his wife rather than his family if Robyn is there. This behavior has been obvious since the start of his marriage to Robyn, and has been a way for her to make sure that Kody is focused on her rather than any of his other marriages, children, or responsibilities. Although Robyn's been doing her best to ensure she's involved in the relationships Kody shares with his kids, it's been obvious that he's trying to leave her out of the equation more frequently in recent years. After hearing how impactful Robyn's presence has been on Kody's relationships with his kids, typically in a negative way, Kody seems like he's decided to make a change and move more toward sharing relationships with them that don't involve his wife. In a show of self-awareness, Kody's seemingly prioritizing his kids rather than his wife. The Sister Wives star could finally see some growth. Kody Brown always thought he could balance it all: 4 wives, 18 children, and a dream of celestial harmony. But the illusion of unity crumbled long ago, and the past few seasons of Sister Wives have made one thing crystal clear: the center could no longer hold. And as the pieces of Kody's family shattered one by one, it became impossible to ignore the one name at the epicenter of it all: Robyn Brown. At first, Robyn seemed like a breath of fresh air. She came into the family with soft-spoken charm, manners polished like a porcelain doll, and an eagerness to please. But what once looked like grace gradually revealed itself as something else: control. Her presence coincided with the unraveling of Kody's relationships with his other wives and his other children. This season, however, fans witnessed a new fracture. For the first time, Kody began actively excluding Robyn from conversations about his older children. No more group discussions. No more, let's figure this out together. Instead, it was Kody, alone, trying to fix relationships he had ignored or poisoned, and doing it without Robyn by his side. And the absence was telling. In one pivotal scene, Kody met up with his daughter Savannah, Janelle's youngest. The distance between them was obvious. Years of neglect crystallized into a polite yet strained conversation. Kody tried to laugh, to smooth things over, but the effort rang hollow. Robyn wasn't there, and for once, that seemed to help rather than hinder. Without her interjections, without her ever-present tears, Kody was forced to reckon with the consequences of his own actions. The fact that Robyn wasn't involved, wasn't even mentioned, was more than just a shift in dynamic. It was a revelation. For years, Robyn had insisted she was being unfairly blamed for the family's implosion. She told the cameras she wanted nothing more than unity, harmony, and love. But unity requires openness. Harmony requires trust. And love, it requires sacrifice. Instead, what Robyn offered was a fortress of favoritism, one Kody eagerly hid in, abandoning the rest of the family in the cold. When Kody left Robyn out of the conversations with his older children, especially the ones with Janelle and Cristin's kids, it wasn't just strategic. It was subconsciously confessional. Whether he knew it or not, he was admitting that Robyn's presence only complicated things. Her attempts to mediate were never neutral. Her concerns often centered on how she or her children were perceived, rather than the broader dysfunction swallowing the Brown family whole. Let's not forget, when Garrison and Gabe, Janelle's sons, reached out during COVID lockdowns, wanting to maintain contact and keep some semblance of normalcy, Kody shut the door. Not just on them, but on their entire branch of the family tree. Robyn, ever cautious, supported the stricter guidelines, and Kody enforced them as gospel. His older children weren't just hurt, they were devastated. Yet his loyalty to Robyn remained unshaken. Now that loyalty feels more like a prison. The once proud patriarch has been reduced to a man pacing between crumbling relationships, grasping at reconnections he had allowed to rot. And Robyn? She sits in a house filled with silence, a queen in a castle nobody wants to visit. Her children remain close to Kody because they're the only ones still invited into his protected bubble. But even Kody seems to be waking up. His solo visits with his kids, his avoidance of Robyn in those moments, suggest he's realizing how deep the divide has become. It's as if he knows her involvement will only drive a further wedge, that her version of peace is not one that includes the messy, uncomfortable truths his other children carry. For too long, Robyn played both victim and victor, claiming persecution while living in the only stable home in the family. She cried over broken bonds, but rarely took responsibility for how her actions, her alliances, and her whispered worries may have contributed. When Cristin left, Robyn said she was devastated, yet continued to question her motives. When Janelle and Mary followed, she expressed shock, as if the writing hadn't been carved into the walls for seasons. Kody leaving her out of his reconnection attempts doesn't just expose a changing dynamic. It reveals the truth many viewers have suspected for years. Robyn wasn't just part of the fallout, she was central to it. And now, with Kody estranged from most of his children, with only Robyn's kids still consistently in the picture, the symmetry is almost tragic. He once dreamed of a giant family, one filled with laughter, potluck dinners, and a collective legacy. Instead, he's left with a quiet home and a wife who, despite her tears, never truly embraced plural marriage beyond the surface. This isn't to say Robyn caused every problem. Kody's pride, his favoritism, and his inability to listen dug many of these holes. But Robyn was the hand on the shovel. And now that Kody is trying to dig himself out, alone, he's finally realizing that keeping her in every equation might have been the biggest miscalculation of all. It's ironic. For years, Robyn claimed she didn't want to be the favorite. But being excluded from these latest moments of reconciliation with his kids, that's the first time she's truly been treated like the others. And it hurts. Because when you build a family around hierarchy and favoritism, the fall from grace isn't just lonely, it's deserved. Kody Brown's fractured relationships didn't happen overnight. They broke down over years of imbalance, emotional distance, and a refusal to hear anyone outside of his preferred echo chamber. And now, as he quietly begins to remove Robyn from the repair process, the truth rings louder than any family therapy session ever could. Healing might finally be possible, but only if Robyn is no longer the filter through which he sees the rest of his family.